for 2 weeks, and it's another one about self-esteem.
Uh-oh, where's Micah?
He's not there, so I'm just going to go on and we'll take it from there.
Okay, we need to work on our self-esteem. All right, good.
Now, you've been talking up till now, so I'm assuming you're both in the very calm, very clear, centered place, right?
Especially me, yeah.
You've been doing some great immunics with each other up till now. How long were you talking before I called you?
Maybe an hour or 45 minutes.
Okay.
I was like 50 minutes.
50? 50?
50.
Yeah.
Well, okay, this is good. A lot of times, the causes of these things are a lot simpler and more straightforward than we would imagine. For example, you know, when you freeze up, maybe you're just not getting enough oxygen. And if you're not getting enough oxygen, if your breathing isn't that great, that might be because you're low in magnesium. Because I've noticed that low magnesium can, you know, cause my breathing to be irregular and shallow, and, you know, I have all kinds of breathing problems if I have low magnesium. So as I'm saying, you know, my only point here is that sometimes the causes of these things can just be very simple, you know, like matters of self-maintenance. You know, a small thing can make a big difference. So why don't we test about that? Like, what questions could you ask? Come up with some questions.
Let's see. Is there... Is there anything more I could do for myself? I mean, I'm probably the one that has the most hills and valleys with regard to my emotional balance. I noticed. Like, I'll go up and down, have, you know, like negative thoughts or weird ideas. I'm testing, that could be, I tested this morning, that could be magnesium. I like to think I get enough magnesium, but I don't eat any meat anymore. I don't really eat steak, so maybe I'm short on magnesium again. So what could we test on? We could test as, well, you mentioned freezing up because one of us said that we froze up, or do you think that we freeze up? What do you mean by freezing up?
Well, see, that's the thing, is that, why don't you test, do I ever, both of you test, do I ever freeze or partially freeze up?
Yeah. That was one of my immune dysfunctions a long time ago, freezing up.
Oh, by the way, Micah can't be here. His computer failed. He's getting another one. So we won't be seeing Micah. He just called a minute ago. Greg talked to him.
But I just get like I get like my back against the wall and feel like I'm sort of cornered, and I feel like I don't have many options left.
That's okay. That's
you reactive.
That's a classic symptom of what we're talking about.
So that actually feels like an energy pushing me backwards, and I feel like pinned against, like no options, and then I react.
Well,
to blow.
Okay, what about you, Jen? What'd you test when you asked?
Well, what came to my mind is that for, I think, 20 years now, I get this stomachache very randomly at the top of my, like right under the there. Really high up. It's not heartburn, it's not that. It's
solar plexus.
Really like, yeah, really tight. And I thought, I just had this thought that it was just breathing. And I tested that it is. It's like my breathing gets really shallow, and then I get this muscle cramp in there, and then it just escalates into something very painful that takes like 8 hours to go away.
That's another classic symptom of what we're talking about. Well, I'll talk. Okay, Barb, back to you. Remember I wrote an email a while back, and you actually, I mean, it was a tweet, and you actually answered it, and I was saying, why do we do this? Like, why do we choose to do this?
I got the answer to that later. I don't know if I answered it, but I thought about it later, and I even thought about the answer to that.
You gave a pretty good answer during when you tweeted back.
Yeah, what's different between this and just pure love, or whatever you said?
I was saying love or meditation, or another thing is like Christian.
I figured. What did I say? I don't remember.
I don't remember either, but why don't you just say what you have to say now?
Well, my first thought was like the difference between it, because love obviously heals, but you have to. There's a way you have to put a little bit of correction in. That seems like with immunics and with like using the 12 bodies, or using like a format where we align ourselves with each other in something higher than us, that we set a direction. Like there's a energy that's more created rather than just a static cure, like something's gone and then you're just sitting there in an inert state, susceptible to something coming up again. Where with immunics, you actually set a direction in addition to curing the thing that you went into cure. So it kind of creates like a more of a lasting immunity, or it gives the person this, like you set them back on their track and they're already moving again. Or like I've seen person after person go off to meditation classes. I mean, really good ones too, like advanced TM classes or retreats, silent retreats. They come back and then bingo, they fall right back into it. I mean, not always, but 9 out of 10 times. And even with love, in my own experience, I've cured stuff with love, or just being with somebody in a space of love, and it's all like really wonderful. But then you go your separate ways, and the thing came back, or that person goes backwards. And there's something about connecting together with, with the harmonic and removing things systematically. Especially at the beginning. I mean, I don't always do it that way now. Like if I'm working with Jennifer or Alejandro, people that are most experienced, we don't always go right through every single body one by one anymore. But it's like a given. It's like a framework that we share, and it also, so that sort of includes everything else in the universe. It includes other living things. Everything that has higher bodies, you connect with. Yeah. Well, that was my first take on it. I'm sure, like, if I studied advanced meditation, there's probably things I don't know in Vipassana meditation and so forth. But that's what's different for me. Otherwise, I would just hole up and be, in love with somebody, but I don't think that's the cure either.
Well, what is...
It's separate.
Jen, what do you say about this? Like, why do we do this instead of Christianity or... Reiki or whatever?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
You can hear me? Well, my thought was you get answers to your questions with this, with the meetings. Access, where I have cured things with other methods, but kind of, it's a hit or miss kind of deal. It might work, it might not. You might have to try a lot of different things at once. But here it's like, okay, you have a thought, you ask, you get an answer, you do it, and then you don't do it. That's what I think.
Yeah, it seems like once you clear things enough, you build on it, and people are standing on top of their changes. Like if they don't go back. Like I've watched you change where something's gone, it's really gone. You don't go back below where you were before. Then there's the aspect of it that's like service, where when you do it with somebody else, it's how you make your own results last. There's like more of an applied demand in it to keep keep doing it.
Well, you know, I think that we're all probably missing something. And by the way, Jen, your picture is good. You know, one thing is, you know, you're sharp, maybe a little sharper than you usually are. So that's good. But I think you need to watch this movie, Jen. When I put this up, watch this movie and listen to yourself and ask if that's how you want to sound and to come up with what to do about it. Okay?
I already know I don't want to see it.
Well,
I can't stand it myself.
right. Well, what I have been, okay, let me just tell you a couple of stories. Number one, meditation is a proven cure for, like, stress, which, you know, reduces the tendency to heart attacks and cancer and all these things. And they've actually measured people, and they've had control groups. They've done thousands of scientific studies on meditation, and they have found that meditation actually does have that effect. And the guy who moved me down here, Andy Linton, was in a meditation class in India with Maharishi in 1972. He meditated every day, including when he moved me down here, since 1972. He was a wonderful person who came and paid for everything when he moved me down. He rented the car, and he took me out to dinner, and we spent 2 weeks cleaning up the house before Barb and Greg came down. And he helped me hosing out the garage and saved my butt. And several years later, he died of a heart attack at the age of 52. So obviously, the statistics on meditation don't reflect the exact reality that people face. Number one. Two, you know, this is, like, we do this. Like, are you doing this to get in touch with God? What'd you say?
I am.
You are, Barb?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Well, so people say, well, what about Christianity? You know, and I was watching, you know, Christians, I mean, I know a lot of Christians, like Bob, my friend in the park, and Bob is very much in touch with God. You know, my neighbors up the street, across the street, you know, I talk to them all the time about God and Christianity. They're very in touch with God and so forth, you know. I mean, Christianity certainly works to get people, and it obviously works. You talk to a Christian and you get, you know, you can get God from them. It's very, same with Hindus, by the way. Come to think of it, so why not just be a Hindu, you know? Why do this? I was listening to a Christian minister named Joel Osteen, and he was addressing an auditorium with like 75,000 people in it, all of them Christians, presumably. And I listen to him sometimes because I find his lectures inspirational and fun, and he says, you know, things that I enjoy hearing. So, you know, I listen to one of his audio books, and I really enjoy this guy, okay? And he's giving this lecture, and he tells the people in the lecture, here's what he says. He says, probably not such a good idea for a man and a woman to become friends if one of them is married to somebody else. That, you know, so if you're at work and there's this woman who you have a lot in common with and you're a guy, you know, you probably should not have lunch with her or to develop a friendship with her, because it's very possibly that one day you'll wake up in a hotel room with her. What, Jen?
I've heard that before.
Okay. And when I was listening to that, I realized that he was talking to 75,000 people, and he knows his congregation, and he knows that he's got 75,000 people there who have no immune system. they're not immune to people. And when you're not immune to people, you end up with low self-esteem, one way or the other. You with me, Barb?
Yep.
So, I think that the reason we do this is because the bottom line is that EFT doesn't cure the flu or herpes, neither does Reiki, neither does meditation. People meditate or be Christians and they have no immune system. They fall into like abysses of problems or die of heart attacks or whatever. And that's why we do this. That's the, you know, so.
Yep.
Now, to go back to your, like when your brain freezes up, we actually call it being switched. And
Talking about my brain or Jen's brain or just the...
Or my brain.
Your brain, okay.
Because I was listening to a lecture on YouTube by a guy who coaches executives who make over 10 million. You know, like they're like major players. And what he coaches them in is being brilliant all the time instead of sometimes. And that's the issue here, is that you're like, Barb, have you ever noticed that you start out strong and then become weak?
Yeah.
And you start out with high self-esteem and then it drops?
Yep.
And what he was coaching is how to, you know, stay there.
Mm-hmm.
And the bottom line is very simple. Just try doing this for a moment. Just breathe regularly into your chest. Through your nose, regularly into your chest. Doesn't have to be horribly deep or shallow. Just through your nose, regularly into your chest. You're both doing that now. And that's one way to handle the physiology. And then you can do immunics to identify the other problems that take you out. Start with breathing.
That's good. One thing I've been doing recently that I picked up from some other class I took was I've been letting myself be uncomfortable a little while longer, you know, and I get way more results during the day. So I get, like, instead of, I go past where I usually stop or where I usually want to give up or go home or feel tired or something, or in it. It's been finding reserves of energy as a result.
It's the Franny method.
I know, that's where I first heard it. Can't you be uncomfortable for just a minute?
That's one of Franny's most famous quotes.
I know, I had that on my Facebook wall for a while. I should put that back. I had a quote from the three of you. I had a quote from you, Chrissy, and Fran.
Yeah.
That was Fran's quote. Can't you be uncomfortable for just a minute? Chrissy's was keep your head down and pay in cash. And yours was the only way out is through.
Yeah, that was one of my biggies, is go through it. Don't try to go around it. The way out is the way through it. Yep.
That's why I stayed on staff all those years.
Yep.
I think I may be poking my head through. How you doing, Jennifer? She's so cute. You all right? You feeling okay?
Yeah, I feel really good.
You look like you're 144th dimensional.
I know.
Yes. You're getting it's a good habit.
Well, since I'm over on this end, and Barb, you should watch this movie too, and maybe you can hear Jen, but I can't, so...
Well, let me see if she has something to say to you. Let's see if we can hear her. What were you just going to say?
Go ahead.
Okay, what was it going to say?
But
Yeah, okay, today's an example. I started out really good. Really
Yeah.
good, and then somewhere, you know, there was like, I got thrown something that took me completely, you know, out of my schedule. And I got like really, what is it? Short temper. Yeah, you know, I stressed. And I noticed like I was hurrying, I started to go too fast, and you know, if people were asking me a lot of questions, which happens a lot, I'm just like, don't talk to me, like, and then I thought, why can't you just do what you're doing and still have a conversation and, you know, be okay? And so I just totally calmed myself down, and I was good again, but I just saw how it just got ramped up, you know?
Yeah.
There was like, you know, the beginning of the day, I felt like I could tackle anything and I had a lot to do, but just one thing changed it, and then it was like, you know, I imploded.
A good example that you covered. Yeah, I mean, I think with regard to the low esteem thing, like, I think the less my esteem depends on another person's response to me or how the day goes or anything like that, then the more I can last. If you have an agenda or an idea how it's gonna all turn out, then it's easy to feel bad about yourself or feel like slowed down by the end. But so for me, it has to do with being more self-contained and less dependent on somebody else's participation or the world's responses for me to feel good about myself.
Well, I've gotten a lot better at catching it. And
yeah, me too.
Well, you know,
this every day, and then they appreciate that.
well, see, Barb's key issue is that she Barb can make money any day, no matter what the weather is. That's Barb's key issue, right there. It can't be dependent on anything, and it isn't, because Barb has so many things that she can do that she can just wake up in the morning and say, "Oh my God, there's a blizzard out there." Get on the computer and start posting, you know, notes on YouTube movies, or she say, "Well, I think I'll just do this for a while," you know, and then she can call somebody up and say, "Hey, you know, I was testing for you, such and such," and then at the end of the thing, she can say, "May I have some money?" You know, and so forth. And she, you know, so she can just sit home, and then she can say, "Okay, well, I'm going to brave this because I want to go to a coffee shop," and she can take her bumper stickers with her, and you know, put them on the table next to her, and then walk around to people and say, "Hey, you want to cure something?" You know, or she can take a sign and say, you know, got something to cure? Hi there, you know, and so forth. So she has all of these things she can do any day of the week and twice on Sunday. And when you don't do them and you say you're frustrated, that's the freezing up. That's where the breathing stops.
Oh, that's where it gets scary too, because you think, then if I get practical about it, I think, well, I really need is like $1,000. So if I get $20, like then I get stopped. I get stopped in my tracks.
Well, first, okay, let's start again. Okay, let's start again. First, breathe regularly into the center of your chest and into your back. So just take some regular breaths. And now test this question, for example. This is a good example. See, first you handle the physiology, and then you say, okay, Barb, test this question. Do I stop myself by thinking I'm not doing enough? And see if you get a signal. Did you get a signal?
No.
Okay, because you cured it. See, it's not actually there. What you're doing is you're sitting around building these enormous analytical architectures. It's like you're doing psychoanalysis on yourself. Oh, I stop myself when I think...
Oh, yeah, but I stop myself because I think what I have to do is so big that I have to just sort of wait for it. I have to be prepared for it. There's nothing I can do.
Now breathe into the center of your chest and test. Do I do that? Does Barb do that? Jen, what do you get? Does Barb do that? Breathe into the center of your chest, both of you. Just test, does Barb do that? I got no. You got yes. Well, maybe you were testing, has Barb ever done that, or has she done that in the last week, or did she do that this morning? That's a different question. But see, Barb turns it into this ongoing thing. Get it? Barb, you're taking what you did and saying it's what you do. Get it? Get it? You with me?
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, test, have I cured anything?
Yes.
See, that isn't going to matter if you don't... This is all about simply executing your action plans. Like you wake up and start executing your action plans. But it's also about one other thing, which is, have you done anything good today so far?
Yeah.
What?
Oh, I mean, I got up, I exercised, I skin brushed, I took care of everything. I can just walk out the right door right now. I'm ready to go. I cleared things with Jennifer.
Okay.
That kind of stuff.
Okay, just test. Did I just give myself credit for that?
Yeah, I mean, I took myself to a good place before this thing started.
Okay, so one thing that's important is look around, see what you've already done, and total that up and say, okay, great.
Beautiful face.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I made myself a cool pizza bar.
That's very nice.
I did. I made myself a really cool place here.
In Nancy's.
Yeah.
At Nancy's studio. That's.
Yeah. Yeah. I think she's out of town. She's gonna be happy. I mean, even if I don't stay here, it's gonna be cool. It's cool. Look what I made for her. Yeah.
I think staying at Nancy's is good for you.
Yeah, it's cool. It's right in the heart of everything.
I know. That's where you need to be.
See, I got my Illuminati chairs. Someone pointed out that this is the...
All right. I love those. Plus, you get a good vibe from Nancy.
Yeah, and plus, Nancy's plus there's less. I can just walk out of the door and already be here. I went to my place yesterday, and it is nice to have that deck and that quiet environment. But this is better.
Well, this is good for now. Okay, I'll tell you. This movie was given to you by HUM, the World Ministry of Immunics, which enables you to cure medically incurable diseases. We also produce the Cure Drive in the iCollege of Immunics. This is the home page. And as you see here, the movie that starts playing automatically when the page opens is a 3-hour tutorial film, which underneath it is the beginning of a series of movies. If you click on these links, you go to another movie that's a continuation of the tutorial, showing different aspects of the things that people need to get into when they cure things. The movie shows many people curing things. You'll find complete cure tutorials on the home page. Under the group at the top is another. This is a video and text tutorial, and if you click on the link, you'll see it has 10 lessons, and you can click on each lesson and you'll see that the lessons are movies interspersed with explanations. And if you continue scrolling down the home page, you'll find a huge bank of movies of people curing things. Here's one of someone curing multiple sclerosis that you can click on and these play. Hopefully this one will play in a moment. There it is. So that woman cured PPMS and MS. Here you'll find people from every continent: Europe, the US, Asia, Canada, This woman cured shingles in this particular movie. That's what she's demonstrating. And at the top of the home page, you will find links to the cure meetings that we have every week. 9 p.m. New York time, Rome time, 8 p.m. Underneath the cure meetings, you'll find a link to friend me. It's actually Byard. I'm Byard, speaking to you on Facebook. And you'll meet many people who are my Facebook friends there who have cured various diseases. Many of us have cured herpes, which is what I cured. Also there, if you have trouble getting signals, there is a whole bank of movies that focus on people who are just starting to get their first signals. Many of these people went on to bigger and better things, and you see them in other movies. But these are movies about their signals, how they got their first signals. At the very top of the home page, you will find above the masthead a link to the cure shows. And we documented people curing things on, we did this on the phone. There are shows on about 75 diseases, and the diseases are listed alphabetically, as you can see. You actually hear the people curing these diseases during these shows. That's post-traumatic stress syndrome from 9/11, the catastrophe. We have a show on that, and fever, somebody curing the fever, several people curing fibromyalgia, flu. We had a flu hotline, and there are many people. These people are actually curing flu, and the flu stops. It clears up during the 15 or 20 minutes of the call. It doesn't take long to cure the flu. Over here you have paralysis, parasitic parenting, Parkinson's disease. When you cure something, please join your voice with the voices of the many people who came before you by reporting your cure in our poll, which you can do right above the tally of the cures that people have reported is here at the top. And as you can see, there's a little link here. And if you click on that, you will come to a form that enables you to report your cure. This page is the hub of the Web College, and as you can see, there are detailed lessons on how to remove viruses, cure cancer. Here's a movie on the right here of a doctor who actually years ago cured the flu on camera. You'll notice that skill 1 in the hierarchy of skills is cure physical diseases. That's actually the easiest thing with this particular approach. And I've put a great many things in the hierarchy of skills that relate to curing physical diseases, such as ending trauma, working on your organs. Now, if we go into the Recode Your DNA, there are 10 applications or 11 applications, and Recode Your DNA is one of them. If we go inside here, what we see is a page with a huge amount of links. And then if we look at the links on the right, after the ones on the left which prepare you, these are the actual lessons. And you can see some of them. It might be hard for some people to see why blind installation procedure is related to recoding your DNA. And this is why we've put it in this application, so that it relates it in your mind. This is the reason the Web College is organized the way it is is to relate things for you in your mind. And obviously there are a huge number of things, like if you're curing cancer or herpes or any medically incurable disease, it's obvious that there are a great many things that you have to learn. And they're different for everybody. You do not have to learn everything that's listed here. And in fact, cure is instantaneous. And it's always unexpected how it will come. Like, watch these women. They're going to give you a perspective. This is a good way to conclude this little overview I'm giving you here. Say, can I go to the 144th dimension? See if you get a signal on that. Can I go to the 144th dimension?
Can I go to the 144th dimension? Yes? I guess I can.
Go ahead and do it.
Okay, both of you go to the 144th dimension.
I'm taking myself to the 144th dimension.
Me too.
No stopping for gas on the 8th dimension.
I feel clear.
I feel less interested in anything below the 144th dimension.
Can we stay here all the time?
I know, exactly.
Well, I mean, this would take a lot of backstory, but there are some decisions that my family's making that I now feel clear about.
Yes, because when you have that perspective from the 144th dimension,
Yeah.
you simply don't care about anything as much.
That's exactly it. But I don't care doesn't sound so good.
Well, see, that's right.
But it's it. That's really
Not in effect.
When people hear we say we don't care, they go, "Well, God, that's sick," you know.
I know. It's a good thing.